let's get right into it. We're going to talk about a story that starts with something totally harmless and kind of cute, and then just spirals into something deeply unsettling. We are talking about a toy, a collectible figure named Labubu, and the really chilling modern legend that's grown up around it. And isn't that how all the best horror stories kick off? You know, with something ordinary, something you might even see on a shelf and think, hey, that's cool. It all starts with this innocent little object. But as you're about to find out, the story takes a very dark turn. So let's get a good look at this thing. Right off the bat, this is not your average teddy bear. Labubu is designed to be a little bit monstrous, a little mischievous. And it's those features, those huge eyes that feel like they're following you, the sharp little fangs, that really unnerving crooked smile that are supposed to give it character. But for some people, that character feels, it feels evil. And here we go. This is where the legend really takes hold. It's a warning that gets passed around online, in forums, in hushed tones. And the core idea? It's simple, and it's absolutely terrifying. Just having this thing near you when you're at your most vulnerable, when you're asleep, is like an open invitation for something terrible to happen. And look, we are not just talking about some vague, creepy feeling. The stories people tell are disturbingly specific. People claim they wake up with actual physical evidence, these thin red scratches on their skin. The stories talk about damage, like little marks carved into a nightstand, and even stuff straight out of a ghost movie, with your keys or jewelry just vanishing, only to show up somewhere totally bizarre. It's those kinds of concrete details that make this whole legend so frighteningly believable. So, the legend moves on from things you can see and touch to something even more psychological. Because, okay, a scratch is scary for sure, but the sounds that people report hearing next, you could argue they're so much worse because they're the kind of sounds you can't quite explain away. This right here is the absolute heart of the terror. Just picture it for a second. You're in bed. It's the middle of the night. The entire house is dead silent. And then you hear it, a soft, whispering sound coming from the corner of your room, right where that little toy is sitting. You can't make out any words, but that's the thing. You don't need to. It's the feeling that comes with it, that cold, sinking sensation that you are definitely not alone, that someone or something is watching you and waiting. So what we have here is a classic ghost story, right? Cursed object, weird physical stuff happening, spooky sounds. It's so easy to get completely swept up in the fear. But we gotta step back and ask the question, what's really going on? Is this a genuine paranormal event? Or could it be that our own minds are the ones doing the haunting? And this is where things get really fascinating, because this is where folklore and psychology completely collide. A lot of the time, the most powerful hauntings are the ones that are actually happening inside our own heads. So let's unpack a couple of psychological ideas that might just explain the whole legend of Labubu. Okay, first up, there's this thing called pareidolia. Basically, it's a feature that's hardwired into the human brain. We are built to see faces and patterns in everything. You see it in clouds, in the patterns on a wooden door, and yeah, absolutely in the features of a toy. So when you look at Labubu's crooked smile and those pointy fangs, your brain isn't just seeing plastic and paint. It's actively looking for an intention, for an emotion. And because of the creepy design, it finds one, menace. That smile isn't just crooked anymore, it feels like it's hiding something. And that leads right into our next point, the nocebo effect. Think of it like the placebo effect's evil twin. If you truly believe something is going to harm you, your mind can actually create real negative physical symptoms. So if you go to bed terrified that this toy is going to scratch you, you might just toss and turn all night, scratching yourself in your sleep without ever realizing it. If you expect to hear whispers, your brain goes on high alert, and suddenly every tiny creak of the house sounds like a voice. Your fear literally becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So let's just lay it all out, side by side. The myth says the scratches are from Labubu, but the reality? It could easily be just a restless night's sleep, maybe even your fingernails. The myth claims the toy is moving your keys. The reality? Come on, how many times have you put your keys down and just completely forgotten where? When we're already scared, we blame simple forgetfulness on something sinister. And those whispers in the dark, that's likely just a perfect storm of our brains seeing patterns that aren't there, pareidolia, and the power of suggestion from hearing the legend in the first place. Okay, so if there are all these perfectly rational explanations, why does the legend stick around? Why does it still feel so incredibly real to so many people? The answer is because Labubu isn't just a toy anymore. It's a story that is perfectly, almost brilliantly designed for our time. And this, right here, is the absolute key. A scary story is just so much more interesting, so much more shareable than a dry psychological breakdown. In the age of social media, a legend like this can shoot across the entire globe in a matter of days. It just gains more and more power and more believers with every single click and share. And really, this is not a new concept at all. The fear of inanimate objects coming to life is one of our oldest, most primal anxieties. I mean, think about it. Haunted dolls, golems, creepy puppets. Pretty much every culture has these stories. Labubu is just the 21st century version of that. A viral legend built on a very, very old foundation of fear. And yet, even after laying out all the science, all the logic, there's always that tiny sliver of doubt, isn't there? I mean, maybe it is just vinyl and paint. Or maybe the legend of Labubu points to something else. A side of fear that science can describe, but can never fully get rid of. Maybe the point isn't whether the toy is actually haunted, but what the idea of it awakens inside all of us. A deep-seated, primal fear that logic can't always tame. So, I'll just leave you with this one last thought. You've heard the terrifying stories, and you've heard the logical explanations. Deep down, you know it's probably just our own minds playing tricks on us. But, knowing all of that, would you still take a chance? Would you dare to fall asleep with one